We're going to read another one of our Walt Disney Storyland 55 favorite stories, and I've picked out one that seems correct for the season. I believe we will be reading Once Upon a Wintertime on page 44. All right. Once Upon a Wintertime. It was once upon a wintertime, a long time ago. Sleigh bells were tinkling and runners were twinkling over the sparkling snow. "Let us go for a ride in the cutter. Come, Jenny," said Joe. So he put a fur robe in the cutter, and he hitched up his sparkling bays. And Jenny put on her warm little jacket and her mittens, each one with a flower upon it, and a scarf for her chin, and a bonnet, and all, and her stout little boots. They sped away, then away they sped down the country roads between towering banks of snow. What a fine, crisp, sparkling day it was. On the boughs above them the snowbirds sang. The cutter's sleigh bells gaily rang, and the sound of them brought the bunnies to the doorway of their oak tree home. "What fun!" cried the bunnies. "Let us go for a sleigh ride too." So out they jumped, and they rode away, seated on the runners of the speeding sleigh. Soon the road curved down close beside the pond, stretching smooth as glass to the woods beyond. Joe drove up with the horses so smart and nice, and they sat and looked at the sparkling ice. "Oh, let's skate," said Jenny. "Fine," said Joe. So out they hopped, and in a trice their skates were fastened, they were on the ice. Joe was a star, and he loved to show Jenny the way that real skaters go, swooping and sliding and gracefully gliding over the ice. On his swift twinkling skates he did fine figure eights, or nines, or valentines. Jenny clapped her hands at the wonderful show, but oh, woe, down she goes. Now Joe could not help it. He started to smile, and it grew to a chuckle after a while. That made Jenny furious. She got to her feet, and her face was as red as a freshly scrubbed beet. She spun on her heel, and she skated ahead so fast that she never saw a sign that said, "Danger, thin ice." Crunch, crack went the ice, and before Joe's eyes it broke into pieces, and Jenny's cries came back to him on the wintry air. Joe couldn't reach Jenny standing there because her ice chunk was floating down faster and faster toward the town. And there were falls in the river ahead, steep, rocky rapids. Joe sprang to the rescue. He raced down the bank. He tried to reach Jenny's ice cake with a plank, but that did not work. The birds and the bunnies were all worried too. They fluttered and chattered and wondered what to do. The horses stood ready to help if they could, and now Joe had a plan that was good. He jumped to the sleigh. At his whistle, the team raced off through the snowdrifts. Behind them, Joe made a loop in his reins like a cowboy's rope at a rodeo. He collected the lasso. He let it fly. But just as he left his hand, oh my, head over heels, over toes went Joe, plunkety thud, in a bank of snow. And the rope missed Jenny. Now what to do? Joe couldn't help her. He was through until he could dig himself out. But the birds came swooping down through the air and picked up the rope end lying there. While the bunnies tied one end to Joe, one was still heels up in banks of snow. The birds flew to Jenny on the ice. The rope dropped around her, neat and nice. Then the horses and bunnies and snowbirds all pulled Jenny back, away from the falls, up the stream, and into the pond, smooth as glass. That still stretched away to the woods beyond. Back came Jenny, and there was Joe, and they never knew how she happened to be off the ice and back under the tree. The birds and bunnies never told. The horses just stamped their feet with the cold, and rattled their bells and shook the sleigh as if they were thinking, let's be on our way." So in hopped Jenny, and after her Joe. He cracked his whip and he cried, "Let's go." Oh, the snowboards warbled sweetly, and the horses neighed, and the bunnies hopped aboard again, for they were not afraid. And away they all went merrily across the frosted snow, once upon a winter time, long, long ago. Good night. I love you.